Mario, you're laughing when you hear what Stevie said there. Do you think players are overcoached these days?
No, because I think, like even for all the guys who are sitting there, and Dimitar, it's similar, we come from the streets. We play football on the streets. So when you're going to prep us like we're almost like a robot, we're not going to produce the things that you want to see. And I think that's what he's jumping on, because clearly Stevie's time was definitely street football. I come from Amsterdam. That's the only thing, you understand? Like, that's what we do. We go on the street, play the balls. But nowadays, sometimes the kids go like, no, it hurts when I fall down. No, it's not about that. Or you listen too much to your coach. Because sometimes you have a coach in front of you and he tells you exactly what to do. I tell you, yes, you have to listen to some of the things he says, but don't lose your own spark. But by losing your own spark is not, you got to test your coach too. Just like you test your parents, you got to test your coach too and take the ball on and dribble past people. And some players just don't do that. And I'm like, why not? Do it.
What do you think?
Don't do it.
What do you think of all this, Dimitar? Because obviously these players have the flair. Are you seeing enough of it from them, or do you think that they are overcoached?
Well, times are different, obviously, since our times when we used to play, and probably now it's a bit more tactical, yes. Let's not forget that the points count, and sometimes, depending who your manager is, yes, you can challenge him, but then if you have someone like Pep, Klopp, you want to please them, you want to do what they say, you want to play. And you want to be the guy that is going to do what the coach is saying. Of course, if you're someone with more flair, you will challenge the coach and you want to show how good you are actually on the pitch. And you have players like this, the artists on the pitch, the guys that make the difference. They still are there, and hopefully they will continue to be there, like Bruno Fernandes is for United, the guy who can make the difference, who can score from a free kick, a brilliant goal, or can make an assist. You still have players like this. And for the sake of the game, I hope that we're going to have plenty more, because when you go to the games, you want to see goals, you want to see entertainment, of course, with end result, because you want your team to win. That's not the case always, but you want to go home and you be like, oh my God, what I watched today.
What do you think the solution to it is, Mario?
No, just give them some more freedom. I mean, like, we're talking about Shaka. When we play football, right? We want the wingers to get on the ball, and what we want nowadays that we play football, you want your wingers to score. But if your winger is a robot, he's not going to do that. So when Shaka gets on the ball, okay, we know he likes to go inside. You block the inside, he goes outside. So that is why we enjoy watching him. Okay, Martinelli dropped a little bit in the effect of what he normally has. But, this is what I like. When I watch football, even if I don't support that team, I enjoy when I see people dribble and make the other opponent put some fear in him when he runs at you. That's the joy of football, I think.
To be honest, to your question, the solution is players like Eze, who Arsenal signed this summer. But yet still, certainly since 4 goals against Spurs, you've not seen anything like the player that certainly we knew at Crystal Palace, who played with freedom and played with flair, and certainly in that game against Spurs, did so to really good effect. But the point that Stevie is making, and you see it with both Pep and Arteta, is the game has become a version of chess. If I move this piece here, if this player goes here, I want the other players to do X. And as a result, there's no real creativity unless that player is just given a freedom where everybody else around them is going to do as they're instructed, and one player is given the freedom of the park to play with that player. And that, again, is down to the coaching. This is not a player's issue, because you can't tell me that Eze is a robotic player. You never has been. But now all of a sudden, that's kind of the conversation. Well, that's not the conversation. The conversation is, where is the Eze that we knew at Crystal Palace, that we saw a few weeks ago against Spurs? And that, for me, again, comes down to how Arsenal are organised. We sit here every single week, almost regardless of the result, and say it's a very professional performance. And that's who Arsenal are. You know what they're going to do. They're going to do it better than you, but you can't stop it.
What did you like best, Dimitar, yourself when you were playing? What did you like to hear from a coach, and what was the balance between those directions and the tactics and being able to use your own flair as a player?
Well, I think every player like to know that the coach trusts him. When you know that the coach trusts in your ability, you're more free to play on the pitch and not afraid to make mistakes. Then you can fully express yourself, knowing that even if you make a mistake, the coach is behind you, so you're free in your mind to express the best of you on the pitch. In my case, of course, it was always about entertainment because this is how I saw the game. But in the end, you should have the end result. You know, the 3 points to beat the opposition because you play for trophies. You play for something that, you know, when you look back, you want to see that you won something. And because we spoke about Arsenal just now, I think that the approach they are taking in some games is pragmatical or direct because for them it's about winning the title this season. They know they have that chance. They've been too much second place team, so now it's win it or lose it for them this season. And that's why sometimes it's more about how we win. Even if ugly, we need to win it. And sometimes this is what you need, unfortunately, for everybody who loves beautiful football. Win ugly, win ugly, win ugly. In the end of the season, you're first place. Everybody will love it, all the fans. If you can win it by playing entertaining football, even better, of course. But sometimes football doesn't work like that.
No, that's definitely the case, isn't it? And Liverpool have found that out for themselves this season, obviously trying to defend the title. Hasn't quite gone their way so far. This past weekend, though, not only saw Mohamed Salah come off the bench for Liverpool, he also became the sole player with the most goal contributions for a single club, surpassing Wayne Rooney. It's 277 goal contributions for Mohamed Salah right now. His corner kick assisting Ekitike for Liverpool's second. We've talked a lot about Salah's current situation a lot over the last week, Dimitar. What have you made of everything that's been going on between him and Liverpool and his comments about him not being happy?
Well, it's a difficult situation because we speak here about Mo Salah, one of the best Liverpool performers in the last years, someone who was carrying the team on his shoulders, scoring goals, winning titles, medals, trophies, everything. And it's sad and like disappointing to watch something like this unfold between a star player and the club. It happened before, it will happen in the future. I've also been in a situation like this where you need to, try to show your ugly side to the team if you're in a situation that you think you need to show it. And in the case of Mo Salah, in his case, big player with big ego, he probably thinks he's unfairly, put on the bench. He's not playing, that in his own words, thrown under the bus. And he wanted to express that so everybody can see it, maybe provoke a reaction from the team, from the coach. He was hurt, of course. Again, when you're a big player with big ego and you're not playing, it's difficult to swallow it. It's difficult to accept it, even though sometimes you deserve to stay on the bench. I think it was the same situation with Ronaldo in United in his second spell, where he had similar problems, The good thing, I think, is that after the conversation with Slot, probably he was back in the team, making an assist, now having 277, involvement in goals, chance created, surpassing Wayne Rooney. It's a big, big achievement. So let's hope, even though I was rival to Liverpool, but you need to give credit where credit is due, that he's going to be back into the team because he's still, in my mind, the most creative player, the player who can score and make assists for the team.
Yeah, and Anfield certainly showed their appreciation for him, Mario. Do you think he'll stay at Liverpool?
Look, I think the way Slot handled the situation, I think as a coach as well, he calmed it down really quickly. Salah, what we already spoke about, what kind of player he is and what he means for Liverpool. I'm happy that we see him playing again because that's clearly he wants to do that, because if not, even if you have a big ego or whatever happens, if you don't want to play anymore, definitely a player that is in his situation, he could definitely pull the plug and say like, no, I don't want to play the last game anymore. I'm just straight away going to the African nations, and after that I will fix the problem. I think they calmed it down because I think both parties are not willing yet to make that step. That is because if not, normally a player that makes an outburst like that will get in big problems. But Liverpool tried to calm it down really quickly, and how they did it, okay, they had a conversation, him and Slot. And Slot, in the interview, you saw that he said like, okay, we moved on and now we got to take the next step. And that is a little bit how I know Slot. Slot is the guy that he grabs the bull by his horn and then try to fix it and then moves on to the next step. So I hope we all want to see Salah. I want to see Salah to get back to his best because last season he made me enjoy football. So I hope they can figure it out and smooth it out because if not, Salah, it's tough to win against a team.
Do you think it is hard to guess what's going to happen next here, Shaka?
I do. I mean, and for financial reasons. If Mo Salah was on $4,000 a week, it's easy. You keep him on. But at 400 grand a week, you know,
A little different.
It's a little bit more
step up.
that regard, and especially if say Saudi Arabia table a really big bid this January, then you know from a Liverpool perspective, do you continue to carry that wage packet for if Mo Salah does not get back to the Mo Salah that we saw even as soon as last season? Do you carry that for another season and a half? And but it's not worth it if you only get what you've seen from Mo Salah so far this season. Especially again, as I say, if Saudi Arabia table a really big bid. So it really just comes down to financial decision, and I don't think you can make a decision until you know Saudi Arabia's true interest.
Okay, so that's one of the big storylines from the Premier League at the weekend. Another was what's going on at Tottenham Hotspur right now. And given that we have got Dimitar Berbatov on, let's get him to talk about
Not been a good week for
another
Dimitar, has
of
it?
his former teams. It was a rough weekend. It was a 3-0 loss to Nottingham Forest. Do you think Thomas Frank should be given more time here at Spurs?
Oh, man. I mean, every time when we speak about Spurs, I'm wondering what to say because the performance against Nottingham Forest in the last game, I mean, it was poor performance. I really thought that after Spurs won that trophy, they will build on it. But unfortunately, it's the same old story with that inconsistency that Spurs are showing constantly. They can have a great game, they can win beautiful football, etc. But then all of a sudden something happened and the drop of form is evident for everybody to see. Mistakes, leaking goals, losing, dropping points. Of course, then the manager, and Thomas Frank is up there in front of everybody, answering difficult questions, asked about his future, of course. I think that hopefully they'll give him time to turn things around because Spurs are sitting 11 into the table. Again, difficult fixtures lie ahead. They have a lot of football to play, of course. As I said, Boxing Days, around Christmas fixtures, very important for them. But if they don't find the consistency of winning games, it's going to be the same old story and middle of the table finish in the end of the season.
Dimitar, why do you think it is that when Spurs are bad, they're not just a little bit bad, they're really bad?
Honestly, I can pretend to give you an answer, but probably I don't know. We've been there. We played, we lost games, we won games, we make bad decisions constantly on the pitch. But with Spurs, sometimes, as you mentioned, when you're bad, they're really poor, really bad, and everybody's suffering watching the game. And then the manager is sitting there with that expression on his face that he wanted to say something really bad, but he cannot allow himself to say it, He wants to be angry, and he is angry, and you can see it on his face. But he's trying to control it. But sooner or later, he needs to let loose. Is it going to be at front of everybody to see, like we had it in the past with certain managers on the press conference, or he's going to be in the dressing room, in the private of the dressing room, and tell the players what exactly he thinks, because he needs to do it sometimes. He needs to kick them in the butt and say, come on, it's Spurs. Spurs team is always someone that you need to entertain between games, but not all the time the same old stories, dropping points and inconsistency. It cannot be that all the time.
Okay, one thing that we need to bring up with you, Shaka, is Vicario, because he was criticised for his role in both of the Hudson-Odoi goals. I don't know if I even dare ask you this question as to which is worse, because maybe you're going to stick up for him on both of them.
Well, I am a fully paid up member of the Goalkeepers Union. Listen, and I sympathise in both. In this one, he crossed from Hudson-Odoi, he gets himself wrong. This one, is that the right-sided centre-back? It's wide open. Is that Romero? That's a one-touch pass to Romero. And with this one, he just gets sucked under the cross because of the run near ball, because of the near post run. So he gets sucked under the cross. So that's his fault. The first, I don't think that's down to him at all. It is a risky ball, but that's how Spurs play. Romero is wide open. That's a one-touch pass, if ever I've seen one. This is professional football. Why you take a touch there is simply beyond me. And that is what brought about the goal. So for me, I don't think Vicario bears much blame for the first. For the second, yeah, that'll go down as a goalkeeping error. But again, I sympathise.
Mario?
Look, you know me at Spurs, you know, I have to look at Dimitar. He's already going back because he knows. Okay, listen, what I will tell you, I'll keep it short, my friend. Don't worry about it. You know what I only think is the strategy of the coaches that they hire. Because every time they bring in a coach, they got to renew everything. And I think that's the biggest problem, because if every time you bring in a coach, he goes this system, then the new one goes that system. So it's also for the team not really structured properly, because you don't know what he wants. Like, okay, Mourinho, more defensively, break everything up, sit there. Okay, then you get another coach, he wants to play a high line, more attacking. Now you get a coach who wants to play in the middle and wants everybody to be, a level of fitness has to be incredible. But the players are not ready for that. So I think now Spurs they have to have that red line through the club and understanding what are we building, what do we want to achieve, and what is the time frame we need to get to where we want. And if we keep doing it like this, it's going to go up and down. You win a trophy, then you got to wait for a couple of more years before you win something else. That's not good. The club is too big for that.
I'll be honest, I enjoy the petty. I applaud the petty. During the game, on their scoreboard, they had Sunderland and visitors. They didn't
I love that.
They didn't have Newcastle's name up on the
no
scoreboard.
badge, nothing, just visitors.
They just had Sunderland 1, visitors 0. I applaud the petty.
Yeah.
Well done.
You like the pettiness, Mario?
Yeah, I saw that, exactly what Shaka said. I saw that too. I was like, huh? There's no logo of Newcastle on it. No, not even the name of the club. They just put visitors. And I was like, to come with a tactical move like that for a team to put you like that, I was like, hey, they are ahead of the game. No, honestly, they did well. They did well. And the picture afterwards, no, I'm so sorry, Shaka. Hey, your team came. They worked hard, but the hard work didn't work because Sunderland worked harder. So that's why, no, your team was not doing it.
Just before we go to Dimitar on this, we need to mention Shaka's mum. Shaka's mum's message.
we were sitting here doing the Bundesliga game. My mom messages as like, what a goal by Voltemada. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is good. I'm all excited. Right? I'm not, because we're doing our German game. Only to find out is an own goal.
Yeah.
Oh,
cheers, Mum.
Man.
Cheers, Mum. Not
Cheers,
explaining
Mum.
it was actually an own goal, and Shaka thinking that
I
there'd been
was
a goal
all
from
excited.
Voltemada.
I thought the visitors had taken the lead. I thought visitors were 1-up.
No, the visitors had not. Dimitar, did you have a long memory in football? Do you like these revenge tactics?
Actually, I enjoy that because it's a banter of way that, you win, you lose some, then you want to give it back to the guys you're competing with. In this case, I love it, to be honest. The first picture with Newcastle with the fans and Sunderland, obviously, showing the same thing. This is sometimes the football, the emotion it gives you when it's making a good way of the banter, of the way of, yes, you beat us last time, but now we beat you, so we're going to give it back. I love that, to be honest. I love it.
Let me also say, back in I played in the time where derbies where no away fans were allowed, where it was just that kind of there was so much animosity between two sets of fans that there was no away fans, and it made for an awful atmosphere just from a footballing perspective. But I thought it takes so much away from the game. But then you see this, and this I think players love, I think fans love. This is good banter that anybody can even an honorary Geordie can appreciate. I'm with everybody on this. I loved it.